Today we will learn about the canning process. What is canning? It is a method of preserving food for long period of time and it involves processing of food and sealing in airtight container. The benefit are an improvement in shelf life for a period of 1 to 5 years, and the main objective of the canning is complete destruction of the microorganisms present in the food item. There are different steps in the canning process, and we will also learn what are some of the processes of canning. Also, we will know what is the history of canning and what are the major canned food available in the world, etc. The basic steps in the process of canning are: first, washing the material, followed by sorting and grading. This can be done either by the hand or by the help of machines. After the grading process, the material, fruits and vegetables are peeled, cut and washed. After washing, the material is blanched and this is followed by the cooling process. Once the fruit, vegetable or the food material to be canned is cooled, it can be filled in the cans. After filling in the cans, the material is imbibed in a syrup or brine and then it is closed by putting the lids on. After closing, the cans are passed in hot water or steam box at a temperature of 80 to 87 degrees Celsius, and this process is known as exhausting. After the exhausting process, the cans are sealed using a machine or which is also known as double seamers. After sealing the cans are heated. The fruits and vegetables are heated at a temperature of 100 degrees Celsius, whereas non-acidic materials, vegetables are heated at 115 to 120 degrees Celsius at a pressure of 1.05 kg per centimeter square. After the heating, the cans are cooled at a temperature of 39 degrees Celsius and the cans are labeled and then it can be stored. There are some processes of the canning. These can be represented in the diagrammatic forms like machine peeling, hand peeling. If the materials are pod, the shelling can be done, or if the material needs to be cut into small pieces, the trimming process is utilized, and then after cutting and coring, the blanching process is undertaken. The canning process has been utilized since time immemorial. In 1749, Needham was the first to attempt the canning to prevent the spoilage of stored food. After that, a number of scientists tried and improved the process of canning. The notable ones are Spallanzani, then Nicolas Appert is very important because this process is known as appertizing and it is named after Nicolas Appert, and then he is also known as the father of canning process. Throughout the world, canning is attempted for a wide variety of food available. These may include baked beans, canned hams, canned tuna, mushrooms, pineapple, canned asparagus, canned sardines, creams of mushroom soup, peaches, tomato juice, pink salmon, sausages, spam, pears, vegetables, etc. As you know, canning is a process to improve the shelf life and preserve the food item. There are certain spoilages of the canned food, and these spoilages are caused either by physical or by chemical changes. Some of the spoilages are also caused by the microbial agents, and these are a major problem during the processes of the canning. Sometimes under processing, inadequate cooling, leakage through the seams, pre-processed spoilages also are responsible for the spoilage of the canned food. Now, let us see what are the physical and the chemical spoilage processes. The first important spoilage is known as the swell, wherein bulges of the ends of the cane due to pressure of the gases produced by the microorganisms or by some chemical processes. Hydrogen swell flipper, soft swell springer, hard swell are some of the examples of the process. As you can see, there are differences in the appearance of the normal as well as the swelled cane. Now, let us see what is hydrogen swell. Hydrogen swell occurs due to hydrogen gas produced by the acids in the food reacting with the metal. In case of cans, the factors responsible for triggering hydrogen swell is primarily acidity of the food. Second, high storage temperature. Third, presence of soluble sulfur and phosphorus compounds. And finally, improper tinning and lacquering of the can interior. Another type of spoilage is known as the flipper or the soft swell. It is due to lack of vacuum, and as a result only one end is slightly bulged or slack, which can be pushed back to normal condition using mild pressure. Another type of spoilage is known as springer. It is a mild swell at one or both ends of the can due to insufficient exhausting or overfilling of the can. Manual pressure on the bulged end forces opposite end or springing out of bulged end upon release of pressure. Another category is known as the hard swell. The final stage of the swell, the bulged end cannot be pushed back to the normal, and as a consequence, there is a possibility that the cane can burst. Another type of spoilage is known as leakages. These are caused due to defective seaming, faulty nailing during packaging, high internal pressure, mechanical damage or corrosion, and it can be detected by immersing the can in water. Another type of spoilage is known as breathing. Breathing occurs due to minute leak in the can, and as a result, Rusting occurs due to oxygen entering via small leak. The food remain fit for consumption in this type of spoilage. Buckling is another type of spoilage where the appearance resembles swell, and this process occurs when there is improper cooling of the cans. The cans are stained and they also allow or permit the entry of the microorganisms which are capable of spoiling the food present inside the can. Bursting is also a term which is used to refer to a type of spoilage, and this happens when there is an excess pressure of gases produced as a result of reaction of the food acid with the material or the metal of the tin. Discoloration of the product is a consequence of the reaction of acids in the food with the tin plate of the can. It results upon action of the tannins on the tin, and as a result a black compound containing sulfur or sulfur dioxide is formed due to decomposition of proteins which act on the tin to form black iron sulfide. There are certain spoilages which can be accounted to the activities of microorganism, and these are collectively known as microbial spoilage. This type of spoilage can occur during different stages such as pre-processing, processing and after processing. First, let us know what are pre-processing spoilage. Pre-processing spoilage occurs due to a time gap between filling and heating process. During processing, heating favors the growth of spoilage by thermophilic and mesophilic group of microorganisms. After processing, spoilage occurs due to leakage through the seams. Now, let us know what are the different groups of microorganisms which are responsible for the spoilage of canned food product. There are different groups of microorganisms. Depending on their temperature preferences, these may be thermophilic microorganisms, that is the ones which can survive a temperature of 100 degrees Celsius, and they are often spore producing organisms, and as a result the spores which are resistant to heat and are responsible to produce hydrogen gas, sulfide gas, carbon dioxide, and inadequate cooling before the storage facilitates their survival. The second group of microorganisms responsible for spoilage are mesophilic organisms. As the name indicate, they can survive at a temperature range of 25 to 40 degrees Celsius. These include bacillus, yeast, mold, clostridium species, and they spoil food which are having low acid content, and they bring about butyric acid fermentation. As a result of their activity, carbon dioxide and hydrogen gases are produced which are responsible for the swelling of the can. Some of the Clostridia are putrefactive and proteolytic. They produce hydrogen sulfide, mercaptans, ammonia and indole. Another group of microorganisms belonging to Bacillus species like Bacillus polymyxa, Bacillus macerans produce gas and they are responsible for the spoilage of canned peas, spinach, peaches and tomatoes. They also spoil low acid food, primarily seafoods, vegetables, meat, dry milk powder, etc. The spoilage of the food is brought about by microorganisms, and these microorganisms can be either non-spore forming bacteria or spore forming bacteria. Some example of non-spore forming bacteria are Enterococci, Streptococcus, Micrococcus, Lactobacillus leuconostoc, and these organisms produce carbon dioxide, which is responsible for the swelled appearance of the cane. Some non-spore formers and non-gas former include Pseudomonas, Alcaligens, Proteus, Flavobacterium, and these type of spoilages occur due to leakage in the cans. The source of contamination in these cases include cooling water or the cane itself. There are also certain fungi and yeast which produce carbon dioxide and cause the swelling of the can. Main cause of spoilage is under processing or can leakage, which is responsible for the spoilage of fruits, jams, jellies, juices, condensed milk and other products, etc. Some organisms are not resistant to heat, and example of these include Aspergillus, Penicillium, Citromyces, etc. Some organisms ferment the pectin and they are causing the softening of the product formed. There are certain type of spoilages which are caused by the action of thermophilic microorganism. Example are flat sore, which occurs in non-acid food items like vegetable. In this case, the appearance of the flat is the end remain flat and it is caused by bacillus which produce acid, primarily the lactic acid, and there is no gas production. It is difficult to detect externally, and in an unopened can we cannot detect whether it is infected or spoiled by the microorganism. Some common microorganisms responsible for this type of spoilage are Bacillus stereothermophilus, which is a spore forming bacteria and it can survive high temperature and it is able to grow at a temperature of 54 to 60 degrees Celsius. Another example is Bacillus coagulans, which is also responsible for the flat sour in acidic food, and it is rapidly killed by heating, and because it is not able to produce heat resistant spores and therefore it can be checked. There are homofermentative anaerobic microorganisms as well as heterofermentative aerobic microorganisms also. There is a type of spoilage which is known as thermophilic spoilage or TA spoilage. This is abbreviated form of thermophilic anaerobic spoilage. This is commonly seen in food which are medium in acidic content, and the causative organism is obligate thermophilic organism like Clostridium thermosaccharolyticum. In this case, the conditions which favor the development of organism are hot, humid condition. When the canes are stored in hot condition, it is a condition which favors the growth of the microorganism. The can shows swelling due to carbon dioxide and hydrogen gas, and sometimes the can also show bursting. The product stored in the can is sour and cheesy in taste, and this is attributed to the butyric acid produced by the spoilage organism. There are different type of spoilages caused by the thermophiles, which is examples are sulfide or sulfur stinker spoilage. It occurs in low acid foods. The causal organism is Clostridium nigrificans, which is an obligate thermophile. The growth of this organism is favored by poor cooling and high temperature storage. The important feature are stinking smell of food due to hydrogen sulfide production, blackened appearance and rotten egg odor of the food. The spores of the bacteria are less tolerant to heat than the Ta bacteria, and the spoilage occurs due to underprocessing of the food product. The source of contamination of this organism are equipment, air, soil or manure. There are different type of microorganisms which are isolated from different canned food. Now I will be telling you about some of the microbes which have been isolated from different type of canned food. For example, meat and milk will have species of bacillus. The prominent one are Bacillus cereus, Bacillus subtilis, Clostridium perfringens. The mixed vegetable which is stored in cans will contain Bacillus subtilis, Klebsiella species, Bacillus circulans. Tomato which are acidic will have Staphylococcus aureus, Clostridium sporogenes, Klebsiella species. The fish product like tuna fish will have species of Klebsiella, Enterobacter species. The canned asparagus will have Bacillus stereothermophilus. Some of the milk product which are canned like sweetened condensed milk will have Torula aspergillus. Canned tomato ketchup may have Lactobacillus brevis. Canned mixed fruits will have Bassicami fluva. Some other unusual type of spoilages are being told now. These are sulfide spoilage, which is caused by Clostridium nigrificans, and it is commonly seen in peas and sweet corn, and the reason for its contamination is underprocessing, and it is produced as a result of hydrogen sulfide, and the product will show blackened morphology or appearance, and the product can be nauseating odor. It occurs without any external swelling or symptoms, and it affects the seams and head of the cane. It was first observed in sweet corn, and acidity of the canned food prevent the growth of the organism. Black beet is caused by Bacillus species, Bacillus beta nigrificans, in presence of high iron content. The product shows bitterness, acidity, curdling of the canned milk, cream. Evaporative milk putrefactive bacteria cause spoilage of canned poultry. Canned sweetened milk is spoiled by the growth of yeast or coliform bacteria, and the product shows gassy appearance in sweetened milk. Micrococcus species causes thickened appearance of the milk. There are certain problems with canned food. The product may contain residual levels of the dormant spores even after heat processing. Low acid and acidic food may contain spores of thermoduric Bacillus species as well as Clostridium species. These spores do not germinate below 45 degrees Celsius, and therefore canned cured meat contain mesophilic spores which do not germinate due to preservative salt in the product. Major outbreak due to canned food spoilages are staphylococcal poisoning in US due to Staphylococcus endotoxin in the canned mushroom, which were exported from China, and this was attributed to unhygienic work condition and poor GMPs at the workplace. Extended period before heat processing results in production of the toxin by the bacteria. Enterotoxin produced was found to be heat stable, and this led to outbreak of Salmonella species in unpasteurized orange juice in 1990s and E. coli O157H7 in unpasteurized apple juice. So student, let us know what are the management measures to be taken for effective canning process. To attain better shelf life, canners should strictly follow the rules and practices. Some of the rules and practices include use of fresh product of good quality, and if the raw material is to be held, it should be stored in a refrigerated temperature or it should be spread in a cool place. GMP regulations should be followed for low acid food. Good sanitation program should be maintained, especially during the blanching process where thermophilic spore formers survive, and by monitoring the ingredients for spore forming bacteria. As a general rule, the food with high spore levels require more retort time and more temperature in same or similar operations. Follow necessary handling techniques during the container cooling and post cooling period. It is also important to cool heat processed containers as quickly to a temperature of about 38 degrees Celsius. Since thermophilic outgrowth may occur with low spore numbers if the containers are stacked or cased while they are still hot. Maintain good seams on cans and tight lids on glass containers by regular control and testing. Addition of citric acid at a concentration of 0.5% to the syrup is required. Next, leave a proper head space approximately 1/4 inch, that is 0.25 inch, before fixing the lid, and one should follow FSSAI Food Safety and Standard Authority of India specification for canned food. The head space should not be more than 1.6 centimeter, and the drained weight of fruits and vegetables should not be less than 50% and 55% respectively, and no artificial color is permitted in the canned food. So students, by now you must understand that canning is a highly useful process because it improves the shelf life of the product. The process is recyclable and the canned product can be easy to open. The product can be stored for a long duration of time. There is no need of added chemical preservative, and also during the storage there is no need for refrigeration, as well as during the transportation these need not be refrigerated. However, there are certain disadvantages of the canning also. Some of the prominent example of disadvantages are presence of high level of sodium and sugar, it is a time consuming process. Then to start a canning at a large scale, the initial startup cost of equipment buying is very high. The person who is employed in canning should know what is the type of food which is being canned and what are the high risk which he will encounter. Then another disadvantage is that changes in the ingredient may require a change in the processing process. So, let us summarize what we learned in this class. Canning, as you know, is a process by which we can preserve and improve the shelf life of different type of food product. It is beneficial in terms of preserving the nutrient value. However, care should be taken while attempting the canning process by adopting suitable management practices to avoid the spoilage microorganisms which may be harmful for human health. Thank you.